Hey everybody, it's Peter, and this is the 2024 Yamaha Wolverine RMax4 1000. This is a trim line that we have not looked at before, and like I said, I have reviewed this vehicle before, but the trim line makes a difference, and this special edition version here in this Canadian special edition paint looks fantastic, but it also adds some key features that I think make it really worthwhile. So what we're gonna do in this video is do a complete overview of this vehicle. We're gonna talk about some of the features that we haven't talked about in the past because it wasn't on the previous trim lines, and that is on this one. And if you're interested in any of this stuff, make sure you give this video a like, make sure you write some comments, especially if you have questions. Let me know what the questions you have in the comment section, because I'm filming here at McLean Sports here in Fredericton, New Brunswick, and they give me complete access to their entire vehicle lineup. So like I said, I can go through every trim of these. I can take the same trim back on camera again and again to make sure that you get the information that you want. And the hope is at the end of the day, we create a video database of useful information for you so you know which one of these is best for you. So let's get going with this review. So one of the coolest things about this thing is just its overall look. When you step up to this, it looks aggressive, it looks high performance, and we're gonna talk about all of the specs, but let's just quickly show you a couple things that are pretty cool on the look side of things. So hopefully I can get this on here, turn the headlights on, turn the high beams on, and hopefully you can see all that. So first of all, with everything off, you've got your daytime running lights up here. Sometimes they'll flicker on camera. I'm looking at my watch right now because that's my viewfinder, and it looks like they're not flickering on camera. So those are your kind of headlights off kind of look to it. It looks super modern, super like, you know, modern automotive look. Then you turn your headlights on, and what you can't see here that I'll show you in a second is how sharp the cutoff is of these LED headlights. Now, having a sharp cutoff is very automotive-like. One of the things I really like about that is that white LED light really helps you identify what's ahead of you, not just because it's bright and it looks cool, but because it's closer to daylight in color, and that helps your brain identify things easier because it looks more familiar at night. So I always say you can tell if it's a raccoon or a rabbit or a rock, something that can run out in front of you, or something that's gonna stay put. And then you switch to the high beam side over here, and you've got really good lighting here. Again, full LED lighting, so it gives you the high, better lighting. And of course, you can always add accessories on that. We'll talk about that in a second. So let me show you the view of the headlights on the door. That's right behind the camera right now, so you can see how automotive quality they are. And then we'll start talking about the real specs of this unit. All right, so you can see the unit over here. Let's take a look at the garage door right over there, and you can see what I'm talking about. This is just your daytime running lights on right now, so again, no lighting that's shown there. As soon as you turn your headlights on, you can see that really, really sharp cutoff line. Now, again, the color isn't perfect on camera, but you can see that sharp cutoff line is just really precise. That's, again, automotive quality headlights. What that does is it doesn't blind other people, but it gives you really good, and you can see the consistency to the light right full out in the width, which is really cool there. Once you put on your high beams, it's gonna look a little more scattered, and that's because that's what it's designed to do. It scatters that light. It sort of duplicates your headlights, so in your main viewing area, you're gonna have bright, bright lights, but then of course raises that light up, so you have the more diffused light up higher as well, which gives you that long distance light. So really cool automotive style lights on this unit. Let's talk about the suspension now. So taking a look at the front here, we're going to take a little closer look at the suspension in a second, but let's just look at the design over here. Right now you've got a unit here that has little sort of kinked up A-arms there, and that's going to help give you extra ground clearance. The overall ground clearance on this vehicle is very, very good. It's 13.4 inches, so that's really impressive. And you can see the difference that these A-arm suspensions make when you compare to this used unit right over there. Let's just zoom into that. Let's see if we can zoom in properly. Oh, we missed it. Let's go up. You can see the difference there with those ones. Again, those ones over there are just kind of that flat straight line, which is going to put you much closer to the ground. When you come back over here, just go back zoomed out, those raised bumped up A-arms are going to give you a lot more ground clearance. So not only do you have ground clearance, you've got steel underbody panels there that give you a lot of protection, which is what you want. And you can just see the general overall fit here. Everything's narrow, and you can curl underneath, the shape of everything guides everything underneath. You've got the worn winch standard on this trim line. And then of course you've got the suspension. So front suspension gives you 14.2 inches of travel. So that's, again, 14.2 inches of travel up and down, and the up and down is what really matters. It really allows it to come down into the holes as well as get back up. 13.3 in the back. They're Fox piggyback shocks. We're going to take a look at those. QS3 shocks front and rear. Then you've got hydraulic disc brakes front and rear, and then the tires as well. You can see here you've got 29 by 9 with a 14-inch rim on the side. We'll take a look at that a little bit later as well, and by 11 inches, 29 by 11 in the rear. So let's just take a look at the suspension now, because the suspension has a couple things that really set this unit apart as well. So we're fully wide angle here on the front wheel, and you can see this really cool paint scheme color here. Again, sort of that bronze gold kind of color that matches the paint scheme. Looks really sharp. Again, just makes it look a little bit more high end. Then we come up towards the suspension. We're gonna zoom all the way in just like that. And then we're gonna zoom in once more to show you what I really want to show you right up here. These are Fox piggyback shocks, but you can see in the center of your shot there, a little bit to the center above the shot here, these are fully adjustable without tools to 3 different settings here. And basically the settings are sort of a comfort mode, a trail mode, and a real heavy duty, sport type mode. So you can adjust each shock right there with my hand on the shock right there. So a couple things about piggyback shocks. It's pretty standard for the class now, and the real benefit to these shocks is as these move, they're gonna create heat. And as they create some heat, let's just zoom back out again here. So as they create some heat up here, you want that heat sitting in that piggyback shock. That's the biggest reason there, because that's gonna allow you to have that consistent performance over really rough, really active terrain. So you've got that here, all the heat's moved there. But that ability to adjust your suspension really allows you to adjust for comfort or performance, whatever way you want, and it's easily adjustable in every shock. So you can just hop out, depending on the type of trail you're in, tweak it 1, 2, or 3, and it's super simple to adjust, and it really does make a difference in how this rides. Taking a quick look at the rear suspension here, it is a sort of shaded area. We're filming indoors today because it's really cold outside, and it's hard to get my camera to focus perfectly because of the low light conditions, but you do get a sense here, even if you can't see it perfectly clearly, that there is some adjustment of 3 different settings there that you can adjust both front and rear. Makes it super great for performance, for comfort, whatever you want. As we work our way to the back of the unit here, I'm gonna jump in for a second because I wanna show you these taillights. Taillights aren't something I normally talk about on side-by-sides because they're usually pretty terrible, but not so with this one. So if we turn the key to the on position, you should see some lights come on there in a second here, especially if we turn the headlights on. So there's your taillights there. I hit the brake and you've got brake lights, but what's cool about this is if you throw it in reverse, you've got bright LED marker lights. So turn those headlights off there, or sorry, bright LED backup lights, and that's really helpful for when you're backing up. A lot of time you have to add accessory lights to get good visibility going backwards. Not so on this one. You just throw it in reverse and you've got bright lights. So while we're looking back here, let's take a look at all the functional pieces as well, because there's a lot. So unless you live on a farm and your side-by-side is specifically for working purposes, no matter what side-by-side you buy nowadays usually has to combine some level of sport and some level of utility. And that's why it's worth pointing out that this has got a really good hitch. So really good hitch. It's a hitch, but it tows 2,000 pounds, which is good weight capacity for a side-by-side. And you can see really beefy overall suspension components there, the double A-arm there as well. The one thing you can't see on camera is as you look across these, you can really see the strength. So again, drilled out both for strength and weight savings. But yeah, overall really beefy, and again, huge centralization of mass. A lot of side-by-sides you may not see it on camera are a little bit wider in here. So you've got a really good handling unit and the bare minimum sticking out further than it needs to, which is gonna give you just less things to catch, less things to break, but also a really good handling feel. So 2,000 pounds towing capacity. Let's look up a little bit and talk about this bed. So when we talk about a bed in a 4-person side-by-side, sometimes there's a lot of compromises to be made, and this one does a great job of balancing those compromises. What I like about this unit is that really short wheelbase. That short wheelbase gives you a really maneuverable vehicle that you can use on the trails that will actually go around the corners on tight trails. But what you lose in a 4-passenger is some of that bed utility. The way this handles that is really good. This is, to me, primarily a sport unit, but it gives you some utility here. So you can see here, this is the seat in a normal position. I'm going to jump in that seat in a second, and it's right back here. Now there's tie downs here and other places, so you can tie some things down behind. There's not a ton of storage behind there, but you do have the tailgate that folds out. But these seats move forward, and we're going to show you a different angle now to show you how much space you get when those seats move forward. So this is not the best angle to show you the depth, but it does sort of show you the bed floor. And what I'll do is I'll show you one hand width and a little bit here to the back of here. But if I go over here, hand width, hand width, hand width, hand width, hand width. It's basically an entire arm's reach just to the back of the seat. You can still throw things down further down the middle, and I'm a 6-footer reaching down there. So what you have is a system where the bottom of the seat right over here folds forward and goes that way. So it goes flips up and goes away from you, and that allows the seat back to also be pushed in away from you, and that gives you a pretty extensive floor here from tailgate to the end and makes it very, very useful for work. Now, what happens about your seat belts? Let me show you how that works right now. So viewing things from this angle, you can see there's that track where that seat slides. So back here is where it would normally sit right clipped in there like this one is, but again, way forward over here. Seat belts, you can see this one's up here, and this one is very simply clipped down here and pulled up like that. So you can just easily put this in and out, have the seat belt up when you need it, tuck the seat belt away when you don't need it, and that makes for full utility back here. That makes it really easy, nice flat floor. And again, this is a nice hard plastic, well-channeled area to allow water to come in and out and get its way out. But again, lots of space to do the same thing with this seat to create an area of work. But if we can create an area of work, can we make it comfortable enough for a rear seat passenger? Let's go check that out. So I put the rear seat back in its passenger position, and now we're going to jump in here. Now, I'll be honest, the one thing I don't love about this unit is the rear doors are a little bit small, but they make up for that by having this extra step bar. So again, the front just has a protection bar. The protection bar comes out and works as a step bar when the door gets out of its way, and that makes it really easy to kind of jump in here, and I'm making it look harder than it should on camera, but you can jump in here. And again, as a 6-footer here, I've got all the space I need. This door sill here is nice and low, so it's down about my leg height, which allows me to see out there, but you can see I've got good protection here. So if you're going around corners left and right, you've got an ability to sort of be held in, not just through the seat, which is well bolstered as well, but also through the panel here. Overall, seating capacity and seating comfort is pretty good. You've got tons of headroom here, so easily space for a helmet. And again, these seats here are pretty good for support for the back seat. Now you do have some intrusion by my legs here, but one thing they talk about in this model especially is soft touch points. They don't use soft touch, passenger friendly or something like that. They use some marketing term. But what you have here is a really nice rubber grip in front of you in addition to the other bars. Every bar you grab, if you were wearing gloves, it has a sandpapery type feel to it. So it has some tread to it, some grip to it, but in front of you here is a rubber pad which really feels good. And if you're not wearing gloves, it's not going to get as cold if you're just kind of hanging on and going for a ride. So again, you don't have to get your passengers to dress up like you would on an ATV to just come hang out and try it in the side-by-side. Even in the cold weather, you're not hanging on to cold metal bars. You've got a rubber grip in front of you, which I think is really smart. So now let's check out the driver's environment. So first of all, handles are only on the inside. I'd like to have them on the outside, but hey, it's not the end of the world. Now again, as we talk about touch points here, we should point out a couple things here. This is a very soft rubber area. Your knees could come in contact with that. Let's go fully wide angle for a second. Your knees could come in contact with that as the door's shut, and again, it's a soft touch point. The other thing is here, this is a rubberized kind of coin tray type area. The whole thing inside is all rubberized there. So again, nothing's rattling around. If you had to put your cell phone down there or something like that, you can. And again, soft rubber lip, soft rubber area there. So a lot of nice touch points in this. Two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, and diff lock right there. And you also have your headlights there. So off, headlights, and high beams, just like a car. You've got tilt wheel here as well, and the dash is connected to that. So we're going to turn that dash on in a second. Let's just jump in. Let's go full wide angle. Just kind of try to give you a driver's seat kind of view here. Now, different models have different things. So in the States, this could be like a GPS or stereo or something like that. Right here in Canada, that's not the way it works. Again, a little bit lower lighting in here. Hopefully we can sort of tweak that on camera and make it look good for you. Now you'll see that there's a ton of ability to add options to this. I kind of feel like this one's equipped really well as is. It's got the factory winch down here, but you can add all kinds of accessories down there, lighting and other things. And then you also have the ability to add even more down here. So sometimes people think this is sort of a sign of, a lower trim level, but that's really not the case here at all. You have lots of ability to add things there. It's a 12-volt port right over there. There's some storage underneath there. And then, of course, you have the passenger grab handle, which is not just a straight T-bar. It's kind of curled a little bit down, and it also has a wider sort of feel here, like a modern bicycle, to give you a little bit more spread. Basically what I'm saying is this is a more comfortable way to hang on if you're the passenger. When we talk about trim lines, there's a couple things I want to talk about. One thing, really simply, hey, you've got a nice wide angle mirror here. I really like this because it doesn't add the width of having the side mirrors out here. So if you're going down the trail, you're not catching that on, a narrow trail, you're not catching it on tree branches or anything else. But you can see the wide angle here, hopefully, sorry about appearing in that mirror, but that wide angle really gives you a good view behind you. It's hard to show you on camera how good that is. Maybe we can try to zoom in. Oh, that's not going to work as well. Yep, definitely hard to show you that on camera, so let's not even try. We'll go back to full wide angle. But again, that curved mirror is going to give you the wide angle view to eliminate the need, in some cases, for the side mirrors there to still give you a really good view. Now again, as we're talking about trim lines, let's just jump into one piece that I think is really important. See if we can go closer again. We've got the Sport trail and crawl modes right there. So this is sort of your drive mode type setting here. Trail mode is going to be that in between. And again, I love the way this has almost everything with like 3 settings, right? Like, you know, even your headlight switch has 3 settings, you know, which is kind of basic. This is 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, diff lock, 3 settings. And then you've got the sport, trail, and crawl control, that's 3 settings. And then the adjustments on each shock is 3 settings. So again, it keeps it simple, but gives you the variety of modes, suspension adjustments, everything else, lighting, everything else that you need. So real simple to use, even from the driver's seat. Sport mode, trail mode, and crawl mode. So having that crawl mode is going to again help you, help the electronics work with you to crawl up various things. But that doesn't replace the low range gearing that of course this comes with. Low range, high range, neutral, and reverse. Handbrake right here, which again, rubbery feel to everything, feels nice. Again, the touch points in this unit are really good. Yamaha proven off-road capability, comfort, and I think it says, ooh, you can probably read that easier than I can. Let's just zoom in because I can't read with my confidence. There we go. I haven't got glasses on and it's a little dark filming right here. Now let's take a look at the dash right here. Turn the key to the on position here for a second. Nice blue lit dash, and again, the dash is mounted to the steering column, so wherever you put that compact steering wheel, let's just put it on wide angle again, wherever you put that compact steering wheel, whether you need it up or down, the dash is going to move with it, keep it perfectly in line. So your drive mode is listed over here on the top left. D mode is in the T, and that's because we have it in the trail section. There we go, left side D mode in the T. If we move it over to the sport mode, there's the S, and if you go over to the crawl mode, there's the C. So again, it's all in order, so you can see here, where are we? Sport, trail, and crawl, and then it's the same settings with the sport, trail, and crawl on your switch, which is down there. So again, easy to tell, easy to control without having to look at anything, which I like. Down at the bottom here, you've got some controls. You've got the clock, you've got the hour meter, you've got the volts, and you've got the coolant temperature. And back to the clock here. Up above that, you've got the regular odometer, or that's a service, when it needs service, odometer there, trip A, trip B, so it lets you know. And of course, you've got the flashing fuel. I kind of like that this is low in fuel because this tells you it's not just when it gets to the bottom marker. Sometimes these feel like they don't have enough marker sometimes, but it's not just when it gets to the bottom marker. The bottom marker has to flash before you know you're fully out of issues there. EPS light is lit, and that's electric power steering, so electronic power steering, so that helps. Electric power steering gives you good control, no fluids to leak. It's kind of standard for the class right now, and then again, some extra little lights around there, neutral light and that kind of thing, to give you a sense of what's going on. So let's jump out of this thing and talk about who it's really for. So when we talk about who a unit like this is for, we have to talk sport, and we have to talk the trim level. So first of all, if you're looking for something that is very sporty, not only does it look sporty, it really is sporty. So it's got big wheels, it's got a great look overall to it, great ground clearance, and that all gives you that impression that it's a sporting kind of ride. And that's exactly what this is. It's a sporting ride. What I love about this unit though is it backs it up with some key things. Those extra little controls for the drive modes, for having that, that sport mode, having that trail mode and that crawl mode, really gives you a little extra control, a little extra assistance to get through things. Basically, it turns you from a 0 to a hero as a driver. Maybe not a 0, but it does make you a better driver, helps you have more control, more precise control, no matter what terrain you hit. And then again, everything's kind of in 3s, right? You've got those suspension settings, nothing crazy complicated, but a really quality setup to give you the performance you need. You want to keep it nice and comfortable when you've got 4 people with you, you can do that. You want to get aggressive and not bottom out, you're going to set it to the full opposite side. And then that trail mode in between allows for that comfort, but still give you the suspension travel, all of that adjustments right there. And then we talk about utility. Sure, you can take 2 people with you in addition to, 2 more people in addition to the front seats, but you can also move these forward. And when you buy a unit like this and you want it because of sport, you need to make sure you can justify it for its capability. So 600 pounds of weight can be put back here in the bed, which is really nice to have when you need it for a working unit, to move firewood or something like that. But you also have the ability to tow 2,000 pounds. Some of these only tow 1,500 pounds or not as much. So you've got a full-on sport unit that can also, is small enough to take the trail, large enough to take your family. Utility-wise, it's good enough to do all the work you need to do. And then again, in this trim line with some of those little extra electronics, little basics as well, like having that extra mirror already built in, having the Warn winch already built in, having the skid plates and the step bar already built in. All of those things make this a complete package with the ability to upgrade in the future as opposed to, you know, wishing you got something off the top. So this gives you a great starting point where you feel like you're getting a fully loaded unit, but if you see that one thing you want to add in the future, again, it's all set up for accessories and upgrades. The big thing you're going to notice with this is whether you're driving it or your passenger, you do notice there's way less plasticky touch points on this. So again, lots of plastic on these things. Let's not kid ourselves. These aren't luxury vehicles. You know, they're not Mercedes-Benz or anything like that. They're not Bentleys. But where you touch on these, there's lots of soft touch pieces, rubberized pieces, grippy pieces, and that makes it feel like a much higher end unit than what the price tag says. I really like this unit. There's a reason I reviewed it twice, because when I walk by these, I sit there and I see them and I go, man, they look really cool. But it's this trim line with those extra electronic controls that really set it up for me and make it pretty cool. I should mention this is fully stock unit, so the roof, the mirror, those kinds of things, all of that is standard. And like I said, if you want to enclose this in, you want to do anything with it side by side, you can customize them right up. And if you want to do that, you should talk to McLean's. They can tell you what they would do, what you could do. And again, if you're interested in any of these here, McLean Sports here in Fredericton, New Brunswick, they have this in stock right now, but they also give me complete access as well. So if you're not near here and you just want to know more about them, give this video a like, hit the subscribe button, let them know that you're subscribing because of their content, and we'll continue to come back with more and more and more. And if you want to see McLean's, there's a link in the bio or a link in the description of this video. You can check them out. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll catch you in the next one.